Jenna, how was your week?
Well,
What's going on in your life?
so we'll just cut to the chase. I have a sty in my eye.
You can't even tell.
Which is great. That's why I'm wearing glasses for anyone who's watching this. I'm not going to lie. Yesterday, I woke up and looked like Sloth from the Goonies. Like you think I'm kidding, but I woke up and was like, thank God no one.
swollen.
No, thank God I am not with a man, because if I woke up next to a man, he would be scared shitless. And I apologize for my language, but there's no other, like I scared myself when I looked in the mirror. I couldn't open my eye. It was so swollen that I almost called Sonia and be like, hey, I don't think I can do this episode because I looked.
You can't even tell. It looks kind of like eyeshadow.
No, but you need to understand.
Yeah.
I was like when I called my buddy who is a nurse practitioner, which is, I love him so much. So I said, SOS. What does one do to get rid of a sty that doesn't involve a warm compress? And he was giving me all these things. He's like, you need like a week.
Why didn't you want a warm compress?
I did, but I needed more. I needed a miracle drug, okay? I needed medicine.
No time.
There was no time. This was an emergency, okay?
No, I've been there, girl.
911 is what
Yeah.
this was. Not actually, but it felt like a 911.
Close to.
And he was like, warm compressed, witch hazel, okay? Learn that
Yeah.
one.
I think I have
Witch hazel wipes.
Yep, I'm prone to them, so I'll.
Did you say you're prone to them?
My doctor told me I'm prone to styes. This is
Wow.
the thing.
Okay.
I used to get them a lot when I was a little kid.
Yeah, so I went to, obviously one goes to her mom's house, and I said, help me. So she gave me these wipes because my brother gets them, and so I've been using these wipes, but
runs
the
the
wipes
family.
didn't really work. And then I used this other medicine, and that was crazy.
How do you even get a sty? Is bacteria?
Bacteria.
Were you touching your eyes
Extra
too much?
bacteria.
I
If you
don't
wear
think
contacts,
so.
you're more prone to
You
that.
cried
I
a
wear
lot.
contacts. I cried a lot the last, we had to put my dog
Could be
down. That
that.
was really sad.
Very sad.
But I also think too, like as women with makeup, like if you're not
Yep.
like really effectively cleaning your face, sometimes that happens.
Yeah. I got mine during COVID a lot because I think it was part of partially an anxiety response.
Oh, that happens too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get them for a myriad of reasons. Also, fun sty fact, if you need a good warm compress, get a hard-boiled egg and wrap it in a cloth. They stay warm for an hour.
Okay, this was my issue. Was
Yep.
every time I
The
put the
warm
compress
compress,
on,
it goes
it
away in
felt
a-
so nice,
Yep.
and then it would be like, 1 minute later,
Right.
it's cold, and I'm like, I can't sit.
And you
next
have to
the-
compress that
Yes.
for a long time every day.
My
for it
whole
to go
day
away.
yesterday was
Yep.
me looking like Patch Adams.
Yep,
Because
I
I was
vouch.
like, this is going down. Like we are not.
Yeah.
The
I'm not.
comparison.
No, it was so bad. I'm
my
not kidding you.
God.
I
Jenna,
could.
I used to wear eye patches when I was a kid because of it.
Sonia.
Yeah, no, I get you, girl. You don't. You
Wow.
could not have talked to a better person about your style.
I bet you guys didn't think you were gonna get this much information on styes on the
Yeah.
Blue Demon Room today.
We do health,
little
we
bit
do
of a medical
sports, we do
podcast
it all.
today.
I'm glad you're on the up and up.
We're
We
on the
have
up and up. Yes.
A great episode coming your way. Ryan Jamison, the men's golf coach at
Yes.
DePaul,
New men's golf
was
coach.
with us. New men's golf coach.
Yes.
That's correct. He's also a new dad, which is very exciting. He already has.
He's a
kid.
girl dad
He's
times
a girl
two.
dad times two. He has a new baby. So that was fun to talk to him about that because we love a good girl dad. And I love golf. I grew up loving golf, watching the British Open that they now just call the Open, and I'm glad I got to talk to him about that. The PGA Tour. He was a caddy for 15 years.
And I will say, as someone on the opposite end of you, I grew up where when my dad had golf on, I was like, "Ooh, it's nap time." So because
a good nap
it's
sport.
very
It is.
soothing.
Yeah, it
but
is.
I have a newfound respect because it was like, and I told him I was like, there's a lot that I really don't fully understand. So like, help me understand what goes into being a caddy, because to be honest, I feel like the name of it, like the job title, doesn't match the description in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And there's so much that goes into it. And coursing out the courses and thinking about the way the wind's coming in and what's on the green. And I don't know if I'm using this terminology correct, but like the slopes and where should you shoot from? And
Yeah, yeah.
there's
He's basically like a producer for the golfer.
and you have to know that in
Yeah.
like a split second, because think about how quick
Exactly.
golf is in that way.
Yeah.
So for him to explain that to us, like newfound respect and one, what a cool job to be able to like travel all over the world to like go
Totally.
to all these golf courses and like to be working with some of the best to have ever played the game.
And you're going to the most beautiful places in
Yes.
the country and even the globe.
Yeah.
Just really cool. My eyes itching now. I think I have.
Are
a
you
sty.
getting a sty now
I
too?
don't know.
Don't
It's in
touch
the
your
air.
eye.
I
Don't
don't
touch
know.
me. Don't
You
look at
said
me.
it, and now I feel weird.
I'm
No.
sorry.
No, but again, Coach Jamison, really cool guy.
Yeah.
And I think it was just exciting because a lot of times people think a caddy is just kind of what you see on like Happy Gilmore, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just, and you watch the PGA Tour and you see the guys in the white outfits with their last names on the back, so you know that's that player's like right-hand person.
Yes.
Whether it's female or male golfers, like that person is their trusted confidant and a really big part of why I think he was chosen as the men's golf coach here. The players trust him, they like him, they enjoy him as a person. And yeah, I don't know. I just think it's an exciting time to be in golf with the way it's kind of picked up over the past couple of years with the Netflix show Full Swing, and golf has like drama again. Like golf is like exciting. And
We love the tea.
Yeah.
the tea.
The tea.
Well,
The tea,
yeah,
right.
We made him do TikToks
Look at TikTok
too.
for
Did
that
we? Did we?
reference.
Yes, we did.
We
Yes,
did make him do a
Yeah.
TikTok, and he did a good job. All of our guests have been into the TikToks, even though they don't act like it at first.
I
think they
appreciate
like
it very much because
Yeah.
I know, like on the surface, it can feel slightly cringe.
It's the
but I
worst
live for the
question to have
cringe.
to ask.
I live for the cringe. I do. I
Yeah,
really
no,
do.
me too.
The moment you have to say, "Will you do a TikTok with us?" and they're like,
Yeah, they're
Okay.
like, why do you look like you're taking a poop right now?
yeah.
My face is
They
like,
look like Steve Carell in The Office, where he's like,
yeah,
That's how it
exactly. I'm
feels.
like,
But
I'm
they do
really
it.
stressed about asking this question. Will you please? Oh.
"Yeah."
I will say before we wrap this up and get everyone listening, there is a part towards the end of the episode with Coach where I think we get to see like the softer side to him and the more vulnerable side. And I will say this, like I didn't see it coming. I don't think any of us
No.
really saw it coming. And to give you guys a little behind the scenes, like we were kind of supposed to wrap up after that question, but it led into him being so open that it was like this, we need to follow up and ask some more. And I think because of the vulnerability that he gave us in this space, we're going to understand more about who he is as a coach and as a person. And I think all of you guys are just going to really appreciate, you're just going to appreciate it.
I think also as like women working in sports, like it is kind of like a jaded thing. Like you're just like surrounded by guys all the time, and it's just like you're so used to, you know, the like kind of locker roomness of it all. But I think like him being like, yeah, like me and my like 18, 19, 20, 23-ish year old like athletes, like we talk about our feelings and like we prioritize that and we like prioritize our mental health. Like that just gave me so much like
Yes.
hope as
Yeah.
a young person, being like, the other like young men around me are not learning terrible things. Like they are surrounded by older men who are like,
and it really
fostering
does
that.
take a role model
Yeah,
like Coach to
absolutely.
be able to show the next generation of young men, like, hey, you talking about this is going to help.
Yeah.
And I have this analogy when it comes to talking about feelings, and it's probably from being a bartender, but like, we all know and we've all heard it said, like, you can't keep things inside, because if you keep things inside, they bottle up. And so my analogy is like a champagne bottle. So when there's so much pressure built up in a champagne, right? And we all have that pressure inside of us. And everyone thinks that a champagne bottle is supposed to like shoot out. But the reality is that's not how you're supposed to do it, because one, the cork can get thrown in ways and it can hurt people around you.
It can make a sty in your eye.
It can make a sty in your eye. You're gonna spill out. You're gonna lose like 50% of the bottle. Which, if you're paying
champagne's
for an expensive,
expensive.
okay. So all of this said, the truth of the matter is how you're supposed to open up a bottle of champagne. You're just supposed to like slowly twist the bottom, and when it releases, you're just supposed to hear this like hissing sound. And to me, that is like releasing the pressure of the emotions inside of you.
Yeah.
You should slowly be able to let them out and release them, because if you don't, you're gonna hurt the people around you. And so I give that analogy because I feel like Coach is giving the guys the ability to release that pressure slowly inside of them, which is just really important, not only for our young men, but for our young women too.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
for
seeing
everyone.
that from him is just going to be really crucial for all of the men that come up in his program.
yeah,
That's a good
for
point.
sure.
We don't want to give too much away.
No.
So enjoy
No.
this next episode with the DePaul men's golf coach, Ryan Jamison. We are back with another episode of the Blue Demon Room podcast. I am one of your hosts, Casey Standahar. My co-host, Jenna Duddleston, with me again today. And we have a special guest. This is the new DePaul men's golf coach and DePaul alum, Ryan Jamison. Coach, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And welcome back, I guess. You know, you went to DePaul, your wife does radio here, and now you're back as the head coach of the golf team.
Yeah, it's just an exciting time to be back, and a lot of momentum here at DePaul University, so really happy to be back here.
It's great to have you. I'm a big golf fan. We just talked about Valhalla on the PGA Championship 2 years ago. Does it feel different, kind of growing up loving golf, being a caddie, which we'll get to, and then coming back to your alma mater to now be a coach?
Yeah, it feels, really, it just feels like a good time to be back here. Recently, we talked about just had a daughter, 2-month-old, and just the right time in my life to really be able to give back to DePaul.
Yeah.
DePaul's really given me so much in my time here. Went to school here, graduated in 2005, and also got my graduate degree here as well. So just really excited to be able to take the things that I've learned in coaching in 15 years, and then also the last 5 years is from my caddying experience, just to be able to give those things back to the guys and really try to turn this program around and put a lot of forward momentum in it.
Yeah, congratulations on the baby. I hope that you make them grow up to be golfers, because I really regret that my father didn't force me to play golf, because I feel like I could have been really good. I don't know about that, but I feel like I could have went anywhere in the country. Golf's like, when you're a good female golfer, like that is like awesome, right? Like LPGA Tour, here we come. And I didn't pick up golf till like truly like the pandemic, which a lot of people did. And then I feel like I was like, it's too late. I'm not going to be good.
There's a lot of great opportunities for female golfers out there
Yeah.
today, and the game's really growing as a whole. So, it's just really good to see that there's a lot of people taking it up, and I just feel like there's a lot of momentum in golf right now. Especially what the pandemic kind of put restrictions around, what people can do and getting outside and being active for 4 hours. I think it just really allowed us to have some really great momentum within golf.
My dad gave me a baseball bat and not a club, so I unfortunately did not pick up that skill set, and you will have to teach me, because I just can't keep my head down. Every time I swing, I miss, and then I get angry, and then I just throw the ball like a mad woman. So
It is an aggravating sport.
yeah,
Why do we love it
is.
so much?
I wish anyways, we don't need to talk about that, but I want to know, like, how did the stars align for you to come back here? Like, tell us a story about how you got the job.
Yeah, so, we heard that Marty Sheehan was going to be retiring about 12 months ago. I started kind of getting the wheels going in my head a little bit and thinking about what that would look like and if it would even be able to be something that we can, would even come to fruition. So started taking like little tours around campus, trying to check it out, kind of see what was going on, how things have maybe changed a little bit, and just kind of really saw a lot of forward momentum with the university. I think obviously what Dwayne Peavy has been able to do from a leadership side of look at this beautiful building that we're in right now. We have a golf facility right across the hallway here. Just a lot of great things that they're adding to our program, and I just felt like it was the right time to be a part of it.
Amazing. Okay, so you spent 5 years as a caddy with the PGA Tour, and I think, maybe people just don't understand it. And as someone who, like, Casey's the golf expert out of the two of us. You are. But, like, can you break it down into layman's terms for us, like, what that job kind of entails and what goes along with it? Because it's not just being a caddy.
Yeah.
Like, give us the tea.
Yeah, so it's a lot of prep. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're doing prep of the golf course. So, it can be lonely at times. Obviously, you're walking around on a golf course. You're trying to see where the lines are off the tees. You're trying to see where the wind's going to be forecasted to be throughout the week. Talking through slopes on the greens, where the ball's potentially going to land. Short sides of pins, all kinds of stuff. A lot of golf talk. Just trying to be prepared. I tried to do my preparation Monday through Wednesday so that when our golfer got out there and he was competing in the tournament, and I had already thought about those decisions that he was going to inevitably have to make. So just being prepared, I think, in that arena is something that was very comforting for me. Because these guys are playing for hundreds and thousands of dollars, and you just have to be on your game when you're out there and just be prepared. So it's a lot of preparation, but being in the moment, being in the arena, like I really do feel like time kind of slows down for me, especially with the preparation piece. So being there at the last hole with the chance to win a tournament and being in that arena is just an unbelievable feeling, and one that it's hard to trump.
So it's not just like Adam Sandler carrying the clubs, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking more like what it's like in the show Stick. Have you watched Stick on
Yes,
Apple TV?
I have.
Great show. And just there's more to it than just the clubs. You're truly giving these golfers actual advice that they can rely on and turn to you and kind of they trust you.
Yeah, you're trying to make it as simplistic as possible for them, so they can just kind of see ball, hit hit it that far at that target. You know, trying to keep it simple for them, but from your standpoint, it really requires a lot of legwork to be able to be in that moment where you can make it as simple as possible for them, because they have to make split-second decisions like on the fly that are going to impact a lot of other things outside of their control. So just the preparation piece, I can't overemphasize enough that it's that important to their success. So that's one of those things that you just got to be prepared for as a caddy.
You touched on it a little bit, but you've worked with golfers such as Akshay Bhatia and Justin Suh, and said that when you witnessed their professionalism and work ethic, it inspired you to become a coach. It inspired your coaching ability. What tactics, what characteristics in those golfers do you value and kind of move into your coaching career?
Yeah, I think definitely the discipline. I think the discipline to really get out there and do your work, but also they're not over exuding themselves Monday through Wednesday. They're really disciplined in their work. They're spending their time very, very wisely. You know, for Justin, for example, he would probably spend 4 to 5 hours a day. He would be, you know, he would do the same putting stuff every day. He would do the same short game stuff every day, the same ball striking stuff every day. Just very disciplined in their approach to being prepared for that tournament. Because we would always talk about the goal of golf is to be playing your best golf on Sunday. It's not to be playing your best golf on Monday through Wednesday. So, you know, many of these guys, they make a lot of cuts, right? So they're, you know, I did 200 days on the road in 2023 and the same in 2024. So it's like, it's a lot of time out there on the road. So you really have to conserve your energy Monday through Wednesday so that you can kind of start to peak during the weekend, because on the weekend, you really got to get a lot of energy from the crowd and being out there in that environment with hundreds and thousands of people kind of cheering you on and many of them maybe not even cheering you on too as well, you know, with everything that goes with that. So you just got to be very prepared. And I think just conserving your energy throughout the week is definitely something that I really noticed in those guys, but also very, very disciplined in their approach. You know, they're looking for ways to get better every day, but I think the thing that really kind of gets them through is the fact that they can really just stick to a plan, stick to that process. And, you know, you could see it in their comfort and just being in that arena on Saturday and Sunday, you know, making those putts under pressure. You know, I think it's the hard work that they put in throughout the week.
Do you expect that same level of routine and all of the preparation that goes along with it from your players now? I mean, I know it's a little bit different because these kids are in college. I shouldn't say kids. These students are also taking classes.
Yeah, I think we're definitely bringing a lot of things that I've learned from the PGA Tour and working with them. And then also, you know, working at Stanford and places where we've had #1 amateurs in the world and kind of seeing their attention to detail too as well. So for us, it's about discipline. It's about attention to detail. You know, building a great culture where guys want something kind of, you know, far and away that they can even imagine. You know, I think it's all about the things that they do on a daily basis. You know, winning the day, those things, those little things that kind of add up to a lot. We talk a lot about how we're going to kind of gain those inches. Because in golf, like a lot of people think, you know, going from 75 to 70 as a scoring average is, you know, it's this insurmountable task, but it's really about finding those fractions of shots. And those fractions of shots come from just the attention to detail on a daily basis, you know, working out in the gym, making sure the weights are in the right spot, or, you know, going to practice, making sure we're cleaning up after ourselves. Like those little things that might not seem like a lot to a lot of people are very important to me, because I think it just speaks to their attention to detail and their discipline.
Can you give me like because you keep saying like the attention to detail and it's the small things, and I played volleyball, so like, you know, and I was a setter, so my like attention to detail was always like, you know, making sure my hips were squared up and how were my hands and were they at a 45-degree angle in front of me and what's my posture like, and like again, it's all of those very little things that like when you watch it, it's just one fluid motion that you don't even realize that there's like 20 little things that you do to make sure that that one fluid motion's okay. Can you give us an example of like the little things that maybe you're working on right now with some of your players that you're making sure when it comes to that time where it's like a fluid motion, it's good for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think little things like that are just set up. So we talk often about kind of the think box and the play box. So the think box would be like the things that you're doing before you actually get in there and hit a shot. So we spend a lot of time in that think box. So, and going back to like the preparation piece, like it's really important that they do the little things because we want to get it to a point where when they get out on the golf course, they don't really have to think. They can think about the stuff in the think box before they're even actually playing, but it's just really about the preparation. It's really about the preparation. I can't overemphasize that enough. Like, we need to do the small things every day so that when we get out of the golf course, we can keep it very, very simple. You know, it's a target that's 180 yards away. I'm going to hit it 185 yards because of what's surrounding it, and it's as simple as just hitting it 185 yards at that target. But the reality is all the work that we put in before we got into that situation has prepared us to be able to hit that and make that as simple as possible.
So sometimes you have to break difficult news to players that are not chosen for tournaments. It's, you know, probably one of the things about coaching, I'm guessing, that you maybe aren't the fondest of. But how do you approach those conversations to your golfers?
I think just being real with them, you know, being honest, you know, communicating what your standard is for the program. So I think when you communicate what that standard is ahead of time, I think it makes those conversations a lot easier because it's already been laid out what you're trying to get out of them. So I think by communicating that to them, when you have those conversations, it's just a lot easier. And I think that they go better because they kind of see where you're coming from too as well. But also we talk about a lot about where we want to get to, you know, what are the things that we want to accomplish? And then we try to bring it right back into the moment, which is, okay, these are the values, these are the beliefs, these are the commitments that we want to have. And oftentimes if we're not getting the results, it's because we're not doing the, you know, we're not upholding the right values, we're not upholding the right beliefs, and we're not sticking to the commitments that we want to do that require us to be able to execute out on the golf course.
Yeah. And golf is obviously a very like intimate sport. Like it's a small team. You guys travel together a lot. Are you the type that wants to talk like going hole to hole, or like are you kind of like, I'm going to let them do what they want to do, or each person's a little bit different?
I think each person's a little bit different. I think ultimately it's just about trying to figure out who they are as people. But ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the time in between shots, like, you know, keeping your mind off of golf. Because if you're thinking about golf in that moment right there, you might be thinking about something that happened to you a hole ago, or maybe a tough shot that you have coming up. So by talking to them a little bit and kind of asking them how their day's going, or, you know, whatever it be, it just kind of getting their mind off of things. So that's one of the things that we kind of do within caddying too as well, is we try to get, you know, ask them where they went to dinner last night. We talk about places that we went to, you know, whatever we can do to kind of get their mind off of, you know, the actual being in a tournament and competing. I think that when they get to that next shot, it's just a lot easier for them to be in that moment. But I talk a lot to them about the acronym WIN, which for us stands for what's important now. So in those moments, walking in between shots, what's important is really getting your mind off of it a little bit, so that when you get back into that moment, you get back into that play box, that you can fully execute and you can be exactly where your feet are.
Does any guy have like something really, let's say, out there that they want to talk about when you're walking hole to hole?
I'm sure there's some stuff that I probably can't share on camera, but yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of a little bit different, but we really do. We have a great group of guys. You know, they've been really pushed this year, but I think that there's a lot of positive things that are going to come from this group in the future, and I'm really excited to see kind of what we can get out of them this year.
Coach, you talked about the mind. Obviously, golf is a mental game. We see a lot of that with the pros in full swing, and what it's like to maybe need therapy or go through some mental things when you're kind of in a slump, not playing your best. How much of it is mechanical versus the mental game?
Well,
That makes you a good golfer.
I think a lot of the mechanical stuff can kind of turn into mental stuff. So, you know, it's tough because every situation is definitely different. But like if you have poor technical, it can kind of bleed into your mental a little bit. So, you know, getting your technical piece of it like in a good spot definitely sets you up for mental success. But also realizing that from a mental standpoint, like, you know, the mind is a muscle, right? Yeah. So, you know, we do the things that we need to do to get better within golf, but are we doing the things that we need to get better mentally too as well? So we try to focus on that too as well, just making sure that they're spending, you know, a half hour a week or an hour a week on their mental game too as well, because in my time, I've kind of seen that approach really helps out and kind of puts them in a better spot going into tournaments.
Yeah, the mental can kind of compound and then make the mechanical worse as well. I think on the flip
Correct.
side,
Yeah.
Correct.
it's a hard sport.
It is a hard sport. And I do think like the mental side is so fascinating now of like, again, I haven't played in a decade, but like it was the beginning of like, we need to talk about this, or like, what does this look like? And I remember my dad, when I was a little girl, like I used to get really flustered a lot when I played. And so he made me watch, oh God, I can't remember the movie. It was a baseball movie. Doesn't matter. But anyways, the guy was a pitcher, and he used to do this thing where it would be called like clear the mechanism.
Yo,
So-
for the love of the game.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I was like, I think it's for the love of the game, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And so my dad's like, you need to clear the mechanism around you. Like
Yeah.
you are letting way too much in, and it's affecting you,
Yeah.
and it's written all over your face, and you're going to lose every time if you let these people keep getting to you. And God, I was like so young. I remember being like, why are you making me watch this? And now I'm like, this is great, thanks. But like in terms now of like, how are you like prepping? Is there any like meditation involved with the guys of like making sure that they really are kind of like in alignment and attunement with their mind before games?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really goes back to the preparation piece there. It's like kind of talking them through situations that they're going to face, like knowing where the wind's going to be going into that day. I think little things like that kind of gets them in a better mental space to where they can kind of perform better because they have already kind of gone through it mentally of what they're going to face that next day. So just kind of getting ahead of that stuff. And then, you know, back to kind of what you were talking about a little bit, we talk a lot about being kind of the eye of the hurricane. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of going on around them, but in the center of the hurricane, it's actually really calm. There's not a lot going on. So just when things are going around, going crazy around you, you know, just being that kind of calm presence, like kind of in the center, and that's what we call being centered. So
When you were playing compared to now, how has your mental game kind of changed or evolved?
I mean, I was a terrible golfer, but I still am. But
Don't say that. Come on. You're not supposed to say that. They just gave you the job. Come on.
I think I've definitely learned a lot from a golfing standpoint. Like, you know, I view it as like kind of putting tools in your toolbox, right? And so I've spent a lot of time and coached a lot of different golfers and dealt with a lot of different people that have, you know, just had a variety of issues that they've been dealing with too as well. And so you get practice by doing, right? And then, you know, also it's like kind of like running through the fire. Like I'm not afraid to like kind of deal with the difficult conversations too as well. And I think that that's something that the guys probably appreciate, at least guys that I've coached in the past too as well. It's just like, you got to be willing to kind of deal with the tough things too, have those difficult conversations and know that you're not going to die. You know, you're not going to get mauled by a tiger if you have these difficult, you know, conversations. So I think it's just like teaching these guys to really be vulnerable, right? Like I think that's a big part of it too as well, is like we kind of admit when we mess up. You know, we talk about the good stuff too as well. But I want to create a culture on our team where we feel like we can all be vulnerable. And I think that in my experience, that's where you can tell that you can really get some true growth.
Yeah. Coach, how would you describe your mental game from when you played compared to being a coach now?
Well, I would say my mental game back in the day probably wasn't as strong. Obviously now I feel like a little bit of like I can kind of get away with more. Like I would say from a talent standpoint, I'm not the most talented golfer, but just being able to deal with some of the mental stuff now, it just allows me to kind of get the most out of my game, really. You know, knowing how to kind of deal through situations, knowing how to kind of work through those, I think is just really important. You know, it allows me to kind of put some of the things to the test that we work on with the guys, and just kind of really I just have fun with golf now. It's just more of a fun experience. I know I can only imagine like what they kind of go through, kind of being in the heat of the battle and the tournaments and things like that. But you know, for me, when I get out to the golf course now, it's just a really fun environment. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier, but also, you know, knowing the things that I've dealt with for the last 10 to 15 years just makes it to where I can kind of get through situations maybe a little bit better than others.
You also play better when you have more fun.
Exactly.
Like you play way more lax, your shoulders are loose, like you don't, I don't want to say you don't care, but there's like a childlike sense to you when
Yes.
all you focus on is having fun.
Yeah, it's I definitely feel that. I think when you don't have anything that's going to, there's no negative implications from playing a bad round of golf, and it's just like literally you can be free. I think golf tends to be a really pure sport, because there's so many people that play golf out there, and there's got to be something that's drawing them to it. I think it's the fact that they can kind of get better at it, but it also is a sport where no matter where you are at as a, from a skill level, you can enjoy it, right? And you can always get better, and you can always fix that one thing that's gonna, take a positive impact on your next round of golf. So I think that's what really draws most people to the game.
Coach, you want to build this program to get back up in the in the ranks of the Big East. What is the process like to try to do that?
Yeah, it's a very big process. I think the things that are really important to me is growing the schedule. I think growing the schedule is really important because in order to attract world-class golfers, you need to make sure they're able to compete against other world-class golfers. I think growing the facilities is an important piece. Obviously, having the indoor facility right here, that's extremely important. We're going to try to add some things to that just so we can make sure that when we have those 3 months, in the winter, that we're kind of going through that time frame, that we can make it as realistic as possible so that when we get out to those tournaments in February, we can kind of hit the ground running. So the facility piece is incredibly important. I think it's the people, the recruiting, the people that we bring in. We want to have people that align with our vision, align with our culture, but also have a lot of ways that they can get better, so we can kind of see the upside that we can, ways that we can push them to get better. I think that's incredibly important. And then we want to have people on our team that believe in DePaul, right? Like, I think it's a great place. I'm reminded of when I stepped foot on campus the first time in 2001. It's just like I felt like a sense of pride, like being a part of this campus. So we want to have people that believe in what this place can do for them and what it can do in the classroom too as well, because I think it's really a holistic perspective that we're looking for. But I think those 4 things are incredibly important. And then the coaching staff, right? Like, I think, we're getting a GA here in January, Jeremy Wu, who he's a 5-year PGA Tour caddy as well, and he's coming back to DePaul to get his master's degree. So just having him be a part of that process too, I think adds value to the team. So we're really looking to, build strong facilities, have a great tournament schedule, do a great job recruiting wise, have world-class coaching. And then the 5th thing I would say is just like looking for little things that can add value to the guys. So I spend a lot of time daily just thinking of ways that can be better. I think, just getting our story out there to the world of kind of where we are and that process of growing and evolving as a team. I think that's incredibly important to showcase to the world too as well, because I really do think we're going to do big things here. And, it's important that people hold us accountable for that too. I don't view it as, something that's going to be easy, but also I want to take great pride in the fact that we're doing it the right way too as well. So I think those 5 things are really important.
Amazing. So Dwayne Peavy said that you embody work ethic, passion, and being a great teammate. I think sometimes it could be hard to give ourselves credit and accept praise a little bit. But where do you think those qualities stem from within you?
Wow, that's a deep question. I think it probably stems from my childhood a little bit, really. My parents divorced when I was 2, so I had a dad living in Chicago, a mom living in Dallas, and I kind of spent time back and forth. So I didn't always have kind of people around. So I kind of learned as I went a little bit, and I think I was kind of the person that just tried to make everybody happy. And from that, what I really learned was that, I learned how to work hard and take pride in the things that I did have. So I would say definitely early on in my career, I felt kind of had a little bit of imposter syndrome. So the way that I kind of offset that, at least mentally, was that I just worked incredibly hard. And I think that really stuck with me through, through coaching and my time as a caddy, like even having a little bit of failure early on as a caddy, you know, I got fired 5 months into my first role, right? So I had, you know, I had a big decision to make. Was I going to get back into coaching, or was I going to try this thing again? So with that, I tried the caddying thing again, and you know, ended up working for Justin Sub. But the thing I learned from that was that I needed to be better. So I guess the moral of the story is just like, you know, you're going to learn the most things in life from your failures. You know, and I think that that's something that I don't shy away from. I'm not afraid to fail at all in anything that I do. But I do know that when I do anything, that I'm going to make sure that I give it my 100% best effort. And these are definitely the things that we're trying to instill in the guys too as well.
Failure is a great thing. I think we need to like rebrand failure, because it's only failure if you didn't learn anything from it.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to basically repeat the lesson until you figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of the man in the arena quote, which is like, you know, I'd rather fail like daring greatly than fail because I didn't give it my best, right? And I think that that's one of the things that like we definitely try to make sure that we communicate with our guys, is just like I want, like, if you give your best effort and it's just not good enough, like I will ride with you to the wheels fall off. I will put all the work that you want to put in. And, you know, but like the guys that just don't give it their best and they're not willing to put in that time that is necessary to succeed, that's just the person that I'm just not going to get along with. Because I think, you know, I think Coach Saban talked about this too as well. Is like high achievers don't like mediocre people, and mediocre people don't like high achievers. So it's like, that's what I talk about with surrounding yourself with people that want to do great things. Because it just builds a culture of like, you know, just an uplifting culture that, you know, you have, you know, 9 guys in a room that really want to do great and they want to see you succeed. And when you see success and you guys are in that, you know, you're at that moment when you achieve something, like that feeling, that's that feeling that you chase. And, you know, that's that feeling we're definitely chasing this year. But, you know, it's going to be a hard road ahead for sure, but you know, we're definitely putting in the work every day, and I think it's, you know, the work that you do today is not realized today. It might be realized in 6 months or 9 months or 12 months or 2 years, but the reality is you need to definitely build those good habits now.
Yeah, it's like planting a
That's what
plant.
that's what was in my head. Yes.
Yeah, like you water it and you're like, okay, it's not growing, but then you have this like great plant when you really nurtured it, and that's what it is.
It just pops up. It's like everything in your, you know, everything in your life, like you'll put in a lot of work day in, day out until your life eventually just changes overnight. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's not the work that you're going to do today that's going to change it overnight tomorrow. It's just like, it's the everything kind of put together. It's everything. It's the attention to detail. It's, you know, there's so many things that kind of go into it, but you know, it definitely stems from hard work and discipline and being organized and all those things.
Coach, last question for you between the two of us, and I'm curious, where on the tour that you've caddied or that you've played is your favorite spot? I'm a fan of TPC Sawgrass and the ocean course at Kiowa Island, but I'm curious, like, there are so many beautiful courses in the country.
Yeah, Sawgrass.
And globally.
Sawgrass is great. That 17th hole is really special. You know, talk about a vulnerable moment. You know, I've been on that hole like in a caddy competition on a Wednesday where you're in front of like 5,000 fans or 10,000 fans, and you have to hit a golf shot as a caddy. And you know, one time I hit in the water. You know, it's embarrassing, but that's always a fun spot to go to. I would say LA, the Genesis Open, that's a really cool spot. I spent the last 3 years of my life living in LA, so my wife's from LA too as well. So always enjoy getting back there. And then Augusta. I mean, I just don't think anything can trump Augusta. It's just a special spot. It's a, you know, we won the tournament with Akshay in 2024, and literally the next morning we woke up in Augusta. We weren't in that tournament prior to that win, and then we boarded a jet. We woke up in Augusta, and that was kind of my
So your
first
life
experience.
changed overnight.
Yeah,
Literally.
It did. Masters.
It did, and it was really cool to be a part of it. you know, I still get emotional thinking about the fact that, you know, I was able to caddy there, and you know, it was just a special experience. But to be on those grounds and be in the ropes, and just the history that kind of goes into that place, and you know, the way things are organized and the attention to detail, I think everything about Augusta really embodies the coach that I want to be. You know, just having things that, you know, done at a top-notch level, having a bunch of people around you that believe in what you're doing, you know, having things look really good, you know, people being a part of it, and you kind of feeling that energy and everything that goes with that too as well. So it's just a really special place.
Cool. Love hearing that.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Jen?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I know this was our first time meeting, but like, it's very evident that you are a very special person, and I think the guys on your team are very lucky to have you. Just thank you so much for sharing your story and making, you know, you have a fun TikTok if you want to check that out.
Yeah.
But you know, but like being goofy and also being really
TikToker.
vulnerable with us. So like, thank you so much. Like, I'm really grateful, and this was a really great conversation. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys
We
for
loved
having me.
having
It was
you.
a lot of fun.
Thank you again. Good luck this next season, and we're excited to see what you guys can do.
Awesome.
All right. He is Coach Ryan Jamison, Jenna Duddleston. I'm Casey Standahar. We'll see you next time.